Hey everybody. Well, we've got a few buttons made, a few enemies made, a few players made, some bullets, and some bosses. So, what I am going to do now is use AI to teach me how to use Unreal Engine blueprints. Because every tutorial series that I've tried to watch on YouTube about how to use blueprints makes absolutely no sense to me. So I'm going to use AI so that way it can walk me through step by step how to develop this game that I'm trying to develop with blueprints. Now you saw we've made the artwork and stuff, the idea is already there. I just have to know how to make the mechanics. So I went ahead and since my computer's pretty slow, I made a new project in Unreal Engine 4.5. If you don't have Unreal Engine, you want to go ahead and download the Epic Games Launcher and let that manage everything for you. It's kind of like Steam, except for it's got the Unreal Engine in it. They've still got the library, they've got Fab for any kind of things that you want to buy to make games with, assets and that sort of thing. You can also sell assets on there and whatnot like you can with Unity. It's a pretty all-in-one package like Steam. And I just use Unreal Engine to install that. I used Epic Game Launcher to install Unreal Engine. And it keeps a whole library of the different Unreal Engines that you have installed. So I downloaded specifically 5.4.4 because there are YouTube videos out there that I tried to use the process that they used in 5.5, and the systems work differently to what they were showing in the tutorial. And I don't have enough of an understanding of blueprints in order to implement those things correctly. Now, in Unity, because I already know C#, it's easy for me to look at an old tutorial and go, hey, it may not work this way anymore, but I could use this instead to implement that. With blueprints, I'm starting basically completely from scratch. I understand that, variables like integers, booleans, floats, all basically those are your main three that you're going to use for everything. Pretty much it's either going to hold a decimal number, a solid number, or true or false. In all the game prototypes that I have made so far, those are really the only variables that I had to use, unless I was making my own custom variables with strings. But basically, I understand code at a very, very, very novice level. Like, these are the basic things that you watch any coding tutorial, you automatically learn, like, first video type stuff. So, like, any kind of Java, GD script, C++, C#, across all of those languages, Python, JavaScript, you're going to use variables, and then you're going to use different things to basically reference those variables. So if statements, update statements, fixed update, delta time, or delta dot time, all that sort of like normal stuff that you would basically learn on how to make a calculator, for instance, in the command prompt. And yes, you can code a calculator that looks like a command prompt. There's tutorials all over YouTube for it. It's not hard. But what is hard is blueprints. Syntax has always been easier for me to understand because it's like taking notes. It's like learning math, I guess. Or learning anything. Learning how to write. Learning a language. You listen, you say the thing, and then you write down the thing. And it sticks in your brain. With syntax, you can do that. You copy the text, you physically write the text down in a textbook or a notebook of some kind, and then you try to reuse that code in your own way. I've got a whole coding Bible. That's all my old C# code, and you're probably wondering why I'm trying to use Unreal over Unity if I'm already that far along. One, I think there's a lot of value in seeing somebody struggle and go through what it's like to learn how to make games from scratch. I made my first game, Orca Eats, in 2016 in Unity. It flopped. Did not get any downloads. Nobody even knew it existed. And that's the type of game developer I am currently. I want people to look at these videos and be like, hey, that's where I'm at. Let me watch and see what this guy did so I can learn what to do and what not to do. This is going to be basically a catalog of all the mistakes that I have made and will make, so I can look back on it and hopefully 5 years from now I'll be an indie developer. I'll be where I want to be. I'll have made some things that people actually want to play and want to exist. That's why I'm starting here with this Match 3 Space Invaders game. This is something that I was actively looking for on the Play Store, and I couldn't find anything like this. The only thing that I could find similar to this was like Pangolin. And there is another one that I have called 1 million, and that's literally the name of the game. It's the number 1 million. And I haven't gotten to 1 million yet, but I'm guessing that's the goal. But it's structured. I'm going to structure this game in a similar way to that. But I'm not going to have a timer. I'm going to have a health bar. You're not going to run out of time and have to sit there and, restart because you couldn't match fast enough. Instead, you're going to be shot at by the enemies, and when you run out of health, you're going to die. But you're not going to have a situation where you're randomly ticking out of health consistently, or have the wall run into you like in the old Mario games and die that way. This is going to be more like a chill game with kind of ebbs and flows of excitement. Like, I really want like ebbs and flows of those intense moments where you're down to the last bit of health, you've killed the first boss, you're trying to get to the second boss. You have 3 matches for a heal, and you're trying to match fast enough for heals in order to keep your enemies from killing you. Or trying that hard to get that 5 for the green, so you're matching everything else around it, trying to get it on the back burner so you can make a duplicate ship, so you can fire twice as many rounds. Like, I want it to feel that way, but I also want it to feel like Best Fiends. I want it to have that chill environment until it's intense. That's what I enjoy out of a Match 3. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. So getting the gameplay to feel good first, I think, is going to be very important. And I ran across this YouTube video. I cannot remember the woman who was saying it, but they basically said you don't want to make all those sprites for a game that doesn't exist. You can trade out the assets whenever you want to. Make the game first and then the assets. Well, my channel is a pixel art channel, So I started with the assets and I made a few. So now what I think we're going to do is we're going to pivot a little bit and make a prototype for the game. So we have somewhere for our assets that we've already made to go. So base game loop, start screen, retry screen, you know, basically for when you die, it's going to pop up, you died, and it's going to have a try again button, and then beneath that, it's going to have a main menu button. I think that's pretty simple, and I'm not going to use any of the assets yet. I want to make sure the game feels good first, so everything's going to be gray blocks, blue blocks, red bullets. It's going to be very abstract, and when I get the prototype made with the core game loop, I'm going to post it on itch.io. I'm going to export it as a web developed. I don't know what terminology you use for that, actually, now that I think about it. I've done it before. I've got one on itch.io right now. It's basically a glorified maze that I made in Godot. What you see is right there. But yeah, I want to get something out there for people to put their hands on and sink their teeth into. And I want to play it. I'm excited to play it myself. And if I can get it on the web browser build first, I'll be able to play it on the cell phone and test it to see if the controls work across the board. And then I can export it as an APK once the game comes closer to being a playable product. I don't want to say finished because I don't know when it's actually going to be finished, since it's going to be a roguelike. But I feel like I'm going to probably put a few levels into it, before a few enemies into it, before I say it's finished. I want to get the gameplay loop made, and I want it to be abstract, because if I can make it feel good while it's ugly, we can take the pixel art that we made and throw it in there and it'll jazz it up. So like all the screen shake and all that stuff will be done in the engine, I hope. I know you can do it in Unity. I don't know if you can do it with Unreal. I don't know the power of Unreal. I've seen what people can do with it, so I'm sure it has everything I need. But I'm specifically learning blueprints so that way I can work on this other game I am working on currently for VR called Stone and Sorcery. That's probably going to be my I don't want to say my magnum opus, because I'm pretty sure I'll learn a lot by the time I get to that point. But that's also another game I want to make, and I was developing and had to stop because I didn't understand what I was doing with blueprints. And when I first learned coding, I didn't know what I was doing either. I still don't. But I understand coding a little bit more than blueprints, at least to a point where I can actually write simple code. With blueprints, I'm looking at it and I have no idea even where to begin. Anyway, so that was a rambling of about 14 minutes. So when you open up Unreal Engine, just create your new project by clicking on one of these. So games, film, architecture, whatever you're making, simulations, that's always fun. But if you want, just click on games, and I'm going to start with a blank project, because I'm not making VR, I'm not making a vehicle, I'm not making a three-dimensional top-down or a three-dimensional side-scroller. I'm making a 2D game, which, from my understanding so far, is that you're making it with paper 2D in Unreal Engine. So this is Unreal Engine 5.4.4, just to let everybody know again. And what I started with was a blank project. I put it on blueprints. I target platform, I believe I left it on desktop, and then I put the quality preset as scalable. So that way I can adjust for mobile when in the same project. Like, so I'm building it from the ground up for mobile, but it's going to be playable on PC, and the quality is pretty much going to be the same either way. but it's all 2D, and I'm making all my assets in Sprite, so I shouldn't really have any bloat to this. And with a blank project, if you're importing everything yourself, you can make sure that you don't have all that bloat. If you really want to get into it and 3D model or make all your own assets, which I don't recommend because it takes a long time, that's why I'm doing YouTube, to keep me on track to actually get this done. Because like I said, I started this journey in 2016, and I stopped in 2016 to 2019. I pretty much stopped. And then from 2019 to 2022, 2023, I've been just trying to get my life back on track, and I've been trying to get everything in a place that I can pay all my bills and things like that, and make sure that I can keep a roof over my head while I'm trying to do all this. I don't want to take a loan from a publisher if I can help it. That sort of stuff gives me anxiety, because I'm not sure if I can deliver the product to their expectation, or my product will make that amount of money to begin with. And if they give me 50 or 100 grand to make a project where I'm making all the assets, where I'm making the game, everything from the ground up, I would love that, because I would immediately take my full-time job and just use that money as my full-time income for the year. Just pay all of my bills off for the year and just work on the game 8 hours a day. It's just, I'm a beginner. This is where I'm starting at. And I think if I had a background in coding or worked in some kind of IT for 10 years, it'd be different, but I'm not. I am a driver. I have a Class A. I stock beer currently. I am bottom of the barrel. No support. No anything. Like, this is 100% me right now trying to make something exist and trying to really just make cool stuff. If I'm being honest, that's really what I want to do, is I just want to make cool stuff. There's certain things that I want to exist in the world that I wish I could play. And I see the different ideas in other games, so I know the technology's already there. It's not anything like crazy or out of the box that I want to exist. You know, I see the different pieces in other games that I want in my own, and I don't see any reason why I can't just take those pieces that already exist in other games and bring them together in a single game, so that way people can see my overactive imagination. I thought about writing too, because I think that's kind of my gift, is I've got a really overactive imagination. I really have like all these worlds and things in my head, and all these different like classes and things I try to play in Skyrim. I've got over 400 hours in Elder Scrolls Online just on the PC. I have a level 800 CP on my PlayStation, and I've been an ESO player since the beta. Shows you how often I play. Not very. But I also should have a way higher character. I just can't help myself in just creating new characters in those types of games and trying to live out the worlds that are currently in my head in places that already exist. And I find that the best thing to do with all that is either write them into audiobooks or become a game developer. And I think visually being able to live through my worlds is going to be awesome if I can do it. I'm pretty sure I can. Everybody starts somewhere, and even these small studios that I see, even they, you know, single-handedly can put something together like I'm building right now in like a few hours probably. But that's experience, right? It's all about the experience grind, so that's where we're at right now. We're on the experience grind. If anybody's in my position, I'm going to show you all the tools that I'm going to use, all the things I'm going to do right and all the things I'm going to do wrong. along this journey, and I hope people get some value out of these videos. I know when I look back on them, it's going to be cringy. It's going to be total cringe, and I'm going to love it. Anyway, let's get started here. So, I recommend using for AIs, you either use DeepSeek or Grok 3. Grok 4 will probably do this as well when it comes out, but I'm going to use Grok 3 for this. But both of those AIs do something that I haven't seen Gemini or ChatGPT actually do, and that's they pull sources from the internet and they give you an answer based on those sources. And I'm talking like 15, 20 different sources that they pull from. You can ask both DeepSeek and Grok to give you clarifying questions to make sure that they don't lose their mind and start making stuff up. I've tested a little bit of Grok 3. That's the only reason why I know this. I used to be a big fan of ChatGPT, but it started losing its mind, and I was looking for more things that are kind of like an all-in-one stop shop. You know, Grok 3 can generate images not as well as Midjourney, but it can generate images pretty well for any uses that I have for it anyway. Reference photos and that sort of thing. Grok 3, compared to ChatGPT, can also do all of the writing, all of the brainstorming, all of the code help, that sort of stuff. Just like any AI, though, you start getting into political nature, it's going to have the political biases of the person that built it. That's just what it's going to have. So, DeepSeek, if you don't think that has a political bias, I challenge you to take another look, because every AI does. Google Mind, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and Grok. They all have their people that they're targeted towards. Don't pay attention to that crap. Use it to produce value or teach you a skill. They are great at that. Any AI, across the board, great at teaching you a skill. So, let's get back into it. Before I make this video 2 hours long instead of 1. So, where you create a new project, put it on Blueprint, not C++, mobile, tablet. Okay, so I should have put it on tablet or mobile for scalability, but that's okay. We're going to see if we can still do it from here, because we have the platforms button right here, and I'm guessing we can just, yep, Android right there. So, we can download whatever we need right here if it doesn't work out. If you want to recreate your project, go ahead. I recommend it, so that way you ain't got to fiddle with anything else. But for this, I'll be targeting web design, so for the standalone EXE, and then doing the mobile port from it. But I am building the whole thing for mobile in mind. So that way the port's easy. You just have to package it as mobile, because the way I'm designing the controls is everything should be able to be done from the left mouse click, which, if you don't know this, on mobile, whenever you tap with one finger, it is considered, the computer reads it as a left mouse. So this should all be done by left mouse click or left mouse click and drag. Left click mouse and drag is for the matching. Everything else is left click. So if you want to know how to build your game to kind of work that way, or for mobile, if you want to make like a console game or something like that, but you want to port it from mobile, just build it from the ground up with in mind. The player should only have to use a left mouse click or a single tap on the screen to operate your game. If you work from there, porting anything over to a console or mobile will be extremely easy. People were saying that mobile should have taken the game market by now. Honestly, I think if they built good games, like console level games for the phone, I think it would have taken over, because it's just more accessible to more people. You're still going to have your console players, you're still going to have your PC players, but I think everybody kind of meets on the middle on mobile, especially with being able to stream Steam to your phone, Steam Deck, sort of stuff like that. People want that mobility. So I just cut the fat and have games like this in mind to be able to be played on mobile. So it just tells us to create the new game, like I was showing you before. Start with the blank project, put it to blueprints, mobile tablet, maximum quality, and optimize later. I disagree. I think you should put it on scalable, so that way you're optimizing from the ground up. Don't put all that work on yourself later, because it's going to suck. You're going to have to optimize when you get further into development anyway, but lessening that amount of work is actually great in the beginning, because it helps you catch bugs. You're not just pumping something out that is kind of works, glitches out 50% of the time, works 50% of the time. You don't want that. You want it, before you even start putting assets in it, you want it to work 80, 90% of the time, glitch out 10% of the time, and those glitches be something really weird and something really hard to do. Not like Elder Scrolls Online, where I keep on getting stuck between stairs. Yeah, that you don't want that. Especially if you're a solo developer like me, you don't want to create all that back-end work for yourself when you get close to release. People might argue that if you have the game first, optimizing later will be easier, because you'll be more motivated to optimize it to get it done. But a lot of people finish their games, or come close to finishing their games, and then don't release them because they feel like they're not optimized enough. So, just saying, keep the bloat to a minimum from the beginning, and you'll have less problems later. If you build a house on a rickety foundation, the house is going to fall over. Okay, so let's see how we can enable Paper 2D for 2D gameplay. So, go to top menu, edit project settings, and we're going to search in the bar Paper 2D. Okay. Oh, look at that. Seems like I'm already running into an issue, huh? See what goes up for 2D. Editor 2D, Paper 2D import. So there's Paper 2D. Engine rendering. Find support Paper 2D. So let's just type that in. Engine alright. So I guess that's gotta be it, huh? Enable physics 2D. Engine physics. Editor 2D. Editor 2D import. There's rendering. Component class, per warning class. Not sure what that means, but I'm sure we'll find out on this adventure together. Let's see if we can go down here under engine, try to find rendering, and find support Paper 2D. Well, I'm going to assume we have everything that we need because I didn't see anything under rendering for 2D. We're just going to go with this. All right, check the box to enable it. Okay, I guess that's it. Because if we go here, 2D, enable 2D physics, translate, rotate, and widget in the editor, and render post-processing. Component has a separate enabled flag for post-processing volume that you need to own blah 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 blah. I don't understand, but okay. I guess because I don't know what to change that to, because it's asking me for a string there instead of actually giving me an option for different things. It's just giving me a string, and that's all that exists underneath it, is that little arrow right there. So we're just gonna go, and this is, yeah, I'm not even sure if that has anything to do with what I'm trying to do, but we'll find out. Either way, doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but we'll find out, and if not, then we'll have to look up a tutorial on how to enable Paper 2D on YouTube or on the forums for Unreal Engine, and then go from there if that's what it takes. But this video, this is what we're gonna go through. Remember, we got to see everything. We got to see the pros, the cons, the good and the bad. So that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. So we're gonna, yep, that's why I didn't hit the X. So we're gonna go ahead and exit out of project settings. All right. So restart the editor. Cool. All right. So file. We're going to save all because we don't want anything to change. We're gonna close that out and restart the editor, as I said. So to relaunch 5.4. There you are. 5.4.4. Relaunch this. I'll just speed up the video for this part. So that way you guys don't have to sit through this whole loading up thing. All right. I don't know why I didn't just start that up, but oh, maybe I want to cut it. Nah. All right. We went ahead and did that. After restart in content browser, bottom panel, right click sprite. So I'm guessing talking about this. And right click and sprite should now be an option. So paper 2D, sprite. Ah, I guess it worked. Whatever we did. I'm not really sure, but seemed to have worked. So, if you guys are following along, you guys should have this option now. I didn't know we didn't have it before, but we have it now. So, moving right along. Set up vertical 2D level. File, new level, empty. File, new level, empty, open world, empty level. Empty level, no default stuff. Create. Alright. I don't know what they did with the other world, but I guess this is our world now. I figured it would just create a new, like, you know, tab with this world in it, and just keep the the 3D world around, but guess not. Just deletes the whole thing. So keep that in mind. We're just gonna go ahead and save all, so that way we have it. We're gonna do file, save current level, so that way we actually have a level area. We're gonna go to new folder. We're gonna go scenes, because that's what I'm used to. LOL. If you know, you know. So we're going to go, let's see, level 001, maybe test level 001. Yeah, I'll leave it at level 001. If we have to change it later, we'll get more descriptive names. But for now, this will suit our needs. Alright, so this is saved as main level, so level 001. Awesome, that's what we're doing. So now we have a scenes folder. We got the content drawer, we got a scenes folder with one scene in it. This level. Awesome. In the place actors panel, left side, search camera. Okay? So in the place actors panel, left side, search camera. Okay, so there's nothing over here, or else I'm missing something. Maybe I can... Oh, okay, so just right-click your open area. Just right-click it. It'll bring up place actor. And camera actor. Search camera. So there you go. Camera actor. Alright. There's our camera. And we're going to go to drag an orthographic camera into level. Oh. So can we just change this one to orthographic, or does it have to be specifically an orthographic camera? Camera options. Advanced. Maybe? No? Oh, wait. Camera actor. So I'm guessing this is the quickly added to project. So I'm guessing this is the same thing as right-clicking and searching, right? I don't know why it did that. Let's go up here. Camera. Nope, just gives us a camera actor. So I don't know what in the world it wants me to do there, but we're going to continue on because this is what it gives us. So we're going to go to each of these and see if they give us a option to turn it orthographic. I will say already, and I can tell you this just straight up, if you're making a 2D game, Godot, 100% easier. If you're trying to package for anything besides PC, use Unity or Unreal Engine, because they already have the contracts and things like that in line with, you know, those different operating systems. Sony, Xbox, PC, of course, Steam, all that. They pay for those licenses, and they build those connections for you. So that way you can just go ahead and package it out for those different things that you want to package it for. And my big thing is packaging for mobile. So let's go ahead and say to Grok, hey, I'm not seeing an orthographic camera option. Are you sure that is what I am looking for in Unreal 5.4.4 question mark. Now, so this is what I'm asking it, and you always want to ask AI clarifying questions so that way they can walk you through how to get to that option, if that option exists. If it doesn't, AI is making stuff up, and you will run into that issue. Does that make it a good teacher? Yes and no. I think yes, because it forces you to problem solve, like we did a minute ago. Even though the information wasn't exact, it was good enough for us to find our way around. And by going through those challenges, things will stick in your head a lot better, and you'll be able to remember them and reuse them when you're watching other tutorials or making other games. Oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember that, because this is what happened in that scenario. I hate to say it, we remember negative events better than positive ones, unless the positive ones are really, really impactful. So use your survival brain to your advantage, because otherwise it's gonna control you. So, hey, I'm not seeing an orthographic camera option. Are you sure that is what I am looking for in Unreal Engine 5.4.4? You're right to double check my you're right to double check my apologies for the confusion. In Unreal Engine 5.4.4 there isn't a standalone orthographic camera actor. You can directly drag into the scene like I described. I mixed up the workflow a bit. Unreal Engine uses a standard camera actor, which is what we actually saw. We saw that. We typed in camera. That's the only camera it gave us, was camera actor. You know, right there. Camera actor. That's it. And whatever pilot's for, but, you know, that's interesting. Either way. Don't know what that's for. I'm sure we'll figure it out at some point. Not for this project, though. So, you can I mixed it up. Okay. So yeah, it says we can switch it to an orthographic mode via settings, especially for 2D games with paper 2D. Let's correct that to get your vertical setup working properly in 5.4.4. Here's the adjusted step-by-step. You've created a blank project. You've made a new empty main level. Alright, adding camera, setting it to orthographic. Place a camera, drag camera actor, not signed camera, just the regular one. I hope this is the regular one. It says camera actor, so I'm assuming it is. Even under the type, it says camera actor, so let's assume that's correct. It will appear in the world outliner as camera actor. There we go. Switch to orthographic mode. Select actor camera in the world outliner. In the details, bottom panel, bottom right. Under camera settings, find projection mode. Alright. So, let's find projection mode. Alright, so lens maybe? Camera? That's shutter speed, lens flare, image effects, field of depth. No. What was the option? Projection mode. Perspective. Orthographic. There we go. Camera settings, projection mode. Boom. Told me exactly what it was. Not what it was under. Didn't give me that information. Camera settings. Oh, wait, no. Yes, it did. Under camera settings, find projection mode. Literally the first option. Sweet. Awesome. We're getting right on our way. Change it. Again, like I said, more experienced individual who knows how to use this program, they would have no problem doing this. They would have slapped this right together and would have been way further ahead by now. We're 40 minutes in and we got a camera in our main scene. Oh, man. This is great. Great stuff. So, switch to orthographic mode. We did that. In the details panel, bottom right, camera settings, blah, blah, blah. Position and rotate vertical play. So, still in details. Location, 0. So, let's go to general. There's our transform. So, we're going to set the location on the X to 0. We're going to set the Y to negative 270. And we're going to set the X to 480. I don't know what that is supposed to do, if I'm being completely honest with you. Oh, wait. It's saying that I need to put the rotation on X, Y, or Z, which is pitch is X, Y is yaw, and roll is 90. So it's saying, so the Z, negative 90. Did I have that wrong? Rotates to look down. Okay, so you don't want me to put it on the Z-axis. You want me to put it on the Y-axis, negative 90. Boom. Okay. So it wants it looking toward the grid. For whatever reason. It's supposed to happen on the UI level, but I guess in Unreal Engine it doesn't. I guess we're going to make a plane. This mimics the top-down view for your vertical game. Okay, so yeah, it's going to play across the grid. That's so weird. That's so weird because that's completely different. This is how you would make a three-dimensional top-down game. Like, if you were wanting to make like a Pokemon game top-down or Dungeon Crawler or something. I think this is how you do it. But, and have the camera follow the player. This is strange for building a game that's supposed to operate within the UI. But we'll see what happens. So now we have to lock the viewport in the main screen. Click the little monitor icon with a top left pilot. Okay, so lock viewport. In the viewport main screen, click on little monitor icon with a chain link. Top left pilot mode. So the little monitor, I'm guessing it's camera speed, scaling. Does it mean in here? I'm gonna lock the camera down, but I'm not seeing a monitor in the top left. So default viewport, camera viewport, is this? Ah, there's the pilot. Okay, so pilot camera actor. Okay, so that's what it means to pilot a camera actor. You go to perspective, click on camera actor, and you're seeing what the camera sees. But I need to lock it down from what it's saying. So alright, so I can't find the option for this. Top left pilot mode, select your camera actor from the drop down. This locks the game view to your camera. Hit play. It should show a blank. Okay, so it's saying if I hit play right now, so we're going to save current level, file, save all. They're saying if I hit play right now, it should show a blank 540 by 960 vertical frame. Okay, so this is strange. So you got to change the location of the camera to negative 270, positive 480, 0 on the x-axis, and then rotate it to point towards the grid with a negative 90 in the y. And it's saying that after doing all that and putting it into pilot mode with this right here, going to perspective, clicking on camera actor, and it'll put you right where I'm at. It says if we hit play, it should be a blank 540 by 960 view. Let's see. We're going to hit play. And just as I thought, black screen. So there's no gray border or anything. We have no frame of reference. Awesome. So we're just going to have to trust the AI at this point because we have no frame of reference. We could build a frame of reference, but we're just going to trust the AI knows more than I do about what's going on here. But there you go. I just learned something. Didn't know you had to do all that just to set up a 2D game in Unreal Engine. Hence what I think people have been talking about with Unity or Godot. It's automatically set up for those types of games, so they by default do this kind of setup for you. It's much easier in those than it is in this. Don't get me wrong. Once I now that I know it, once I do it a few more times, setting up the camera should be no problem for making 2D games. But Unreal Engine is the industry standard. If you want to work in other studios, if you want a job as a game developer, making games for your portfolio in Unreal Engine, using blueprints will allow the game developers who, this is just what I have heard from people on YouTube that work in the game industry, that hire game developers, which, hey, if I catch your fancy, please give me a call. I'd be happy to become a game designer so I can surround myself with all of these people who know way more about game development than me, and hopefully over a 5-year, 10-year span, I might be able to learn a lot. Otherwise, we're going to use AI, we're going to use YouTube, and we're going to figure out our own way. So, they do say game development is mostly problem solving. So, there you go. We're solving the problems. But, on to step 3. Confirming it's working. You've made your placeholders, player sprite, blue 32 by 32 square. Drag it into the level. I haven't made anything. Okay, so it's saying that it's under the impression that I've made some assets. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our content. We're going to go to new folder. We're going to say sprites, right? Why not? We're going to paper 2D. I can't do that. Let's see. Input, material, no. Can I just create a blue square somehow? Okay. So let's just go to paper 2D, create a sprite, call this the player. Alright. And we're going to assets, create blueprint, no. This is all me just guessing right now. I haven't, remember, because of what I said, I didn't want to use the assets yet. I want to kind of make this an ugly version of the game, make all the base functions for the game, then add the assets in. So I'm going to ask the AI, I haven't made any assets yet. Is there a way to make place holder sprites in Unreal Engine 5.4.4? I realize it's redundant saying the engine name over and over and over again, but I really am afraid of the AI getting off track, so I don't want to do that. I want to kind of try to avoid that as much as possible. Okay, so we can just double click it and open it in Sprite Editor. Okay, so literally go to your content, right click, go to paper 2D, sprite, name it player, double click it, and it'll bring this up. Sweet. In the sprite editor, top left, set source dimension to 32 by 32. Source dimension 32 by 32. How do I... Is that right? Is that by pixels? I hope that's pixels. Let me see here. I'm going to kind of stretch this out a little bit so I can see the preview. Stretch it out. There we go. Alright, so source dimension. Right here. That's what it says. Source dimension, but 32 by 32 for player. Blue box. Adjust for others. Click apply if prompted. What the fudge? Source texture. Okay, so for future reference, it's just easier to go ahead and export the assets than do this, because it says click apply if prompted. On the right under tools, pick brush. I'm not seeing a brush. Anybody? Render geometry, 32 by 32 pixels. Threshold. Wait a minute. I want my player to be 16 by 16, for starters. I don't know where this 32 by 32 nonsense is coming from, because all of, I need the player to be 16 by 16 pixels. Okay, so source dimension is always going to be your size of your individual sprite. That's going to be a little awful, I'll be honest. If I can't import entire sprite sheets, I have to import them as individual sprites. That is actually going to be awful because I can't cut the sheet in the game engine, which I think is going to be a problem. I think yeah, that's going to suck. But that's part of it, right? That's why they say use this for 3D games instead of 2D games. But, hey, we gotta learn the engine first before we can use it for those 3D games, if you know what I'm talking about, you know? Which I don't know what I'm talking about, so just getting in there. You know what I think we're gonna do? I think we're going to go ahead and open up a sprite real quick. Alright. And we're going to go ahead and go to File, New, 16 by 16. Give ourselves a translator, Shift New. We're going to do player holder, and we're gonna take this blue right here and we're gonna go blank, and then we're gonna go file, save as, and we're gonna go to make a new folder in here and go placeholder sprites, if I can spell. Placeholder sprites. And we're going to go player 001. And now we're going to go ahead and do a file, export as, 100% PNG canvas layer export. Yes. Now we're going to go to C. We're going to go, we need this to be 32 by 32, so we need this to be 4 squares. So we're going to go 16 to the right, 16 to the top, and that's our 4 squares. And this will be our boss, right? Boss holder. File, save as, so we don't overwrite the player. Boss 001. File, export as, boss 001. Yes. Now we're gonna go C, we're gonna go right, we're gonna negative 16, and then top we're gonna go negative 16. Oop, gotta put the negative. Negative 16, and we're gonna go grunt holder, and we're gonna make this one gray, right? File, save as, grunt 001, and the file export as grunt 001. File, oh yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just change this to a different color for a different enemy. So we got gray, we'll use tan, I guess. Yeah, I want it to be a little bit more menacing. No, because we got purple for the boss. Red, no, because it's gonna be for the bullets. I don't want like a calm color. I want a color that's gonna like, hey, I'm an enemy kind of look, you know? Hey, I'm an enemy. That screams it right there. We're gonna go grunt holder. We're gonna go save as. We're gonna go grunt 002. So this way we have a couple of little bit of variation in our enemies. We're going to go save, file, export as, export 002, and I think that's the last one we'll do right now. So we got the player, 2 grunts, and a boss. Awesome. Close out a sprite, return to this. We're going to go ahead and we are going to go to that folder where we've got the, wherever you've got your game folder, your sprites folder, save that. That's where we're going. So I'm going into my placeholder sprites where I just created, and I'm going to take this player sprite and I'm going to try to drag it in there. It's not going to work. So content drawer, we're going to try to drag it in here, see if that works. Yeah. Awesome. That's a texture now. So we're going to go to source texture. Boom. Okay. So why is it green? Okay. I want a new folder in here. Textures. Bloop. Move. Awesome. We now have a green sprite for some reason. Not sure why it's green when the color is obviously blue. But, edit collision, view, source region, no. Why are you green? Can we edit that asset? Can we... It's even blue in here. The system sees it as blue and it's green. What happened? I'm just gonna roll with it. These are placeholder sprites anyway. this has probably got something to do with the lighting. Okay, so now we have our 16 by 16 sprite. I figured that was going to be a lot easier to do it that way. Open a base sprite, export whatever blocks that we need, and throw them into the engine. Kind of like throwing Legos at your kids in their room. Here you go. Build something cool. Awesome. So we're going to go File, and we're going to go Save All because we don't want to lose any progress. And we're going to see if we have... So this should now just work, right? We should just be able to drag this in here, like this. No. Because it is not flat. For whatever reason. So we're just gonna undo that. Uh-oh. Control. Woo! Okay. So content drawer, player texture. Alright. We got that back. Files, save all. Okay, so now in the top left corner, source dimensions, set both width and height to 16 by 16. Click apply, prompt, draw placeholder. Okay, update level. Open your main level. Orthographic camera. If sprite is already in the scene, the world outliner. Okay, so it says I do have to rotate it because if not, if the player's not already in the scene, drag the player sprite into the scene from the content browser and set its location to X0, Y400, Z0. So, content browser, drag and drop. We're going to set everything to 0 because that gives me anxiety. And we're going to set this to 400 on the Y. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to do. Middle of your vertical screen. So that's not the middle of my vertical screen. I set a 0. That's still not. So negative 400. That's about the center. Okay. So rotation. What if I do this? Oh, not what I meant to do. 90 doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything on rotation. Awesome. So can we scale this? Yeah, so it's not even facing, the camera right now. The square is not even facing the camera right now. So, what's next? So this is hit play. Let's see what happens. So we have our non-green square. Our non-blue square. Awesome. It worked. Oh! That's why. It's not transparent. So we just turn the alpha down. It should just turn it green, right? Not green. It should be blue. Okay. This thing is just messing with me now. We're just going to go ahead and move this on over here. And now we should have our blue player. Please give me, now it's green. Fantastic. Looks like I can't have nice things, guys. Looks like I cannot have nice things. We're just going to move this over here and go play. Fantastic. Now we have our green. So it's not going to listen to the sprite. It's not even going to place the sprite that you have in here. Like, this just makes me right here want to stop using this just because of that. If you drag and drop a sprite into Unity or Godot, it just works. It just works. It doesn't do this. It doesn't change the color of the sprite to something random and then ask you to put the sprite color in and not even change it to that color. That's fantastic. Okay, so Control S. Alright, I think that's where we're going to stop today. We got the player in, we got the camera set up. If I was more experienced, this would have been a little bit faster. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching me fail at learning the Unreal Engine. If you guys are learning the Unreal Engine, you guys can also come with me on my journey and follow along, and we can learn together. I promise, if you follow me, this process is probably going to be extremely slow. Just saying, just giving you fair warning. This is more for an entertainment aspect than actually learning something, because I'm sitting here laughing at myself while I'm trying to do this. However, this is also how I learn, so I am dead serious about making this game and putting it out there to exist in the world. As soon as it's made, even before I put the assets in there, I'm going to be playing this laying in bed. I hope the rest of you have a good night.